Formal meeting of the Salt Lake City Council for Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. Councilmember Rogers was going to be conducting this meeting, but he is home ill, so hopefully he will feel better soon. If I could have all of you join with us in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Before we begin, we try our best to make sure that everybody attending our city council meetings feel comfortable and welcome. And so we ask that during the public comment sections of our meeting that there be no cheering, jeering, booing, anything like that. Just be polite and quiet and let everybody say what they want to say, and if you are interested in also speaking, you will have your turn as well. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to make his or her points, and so that's really all we ask. Don't stand on the furniture. Just be respectful. So we have a couple of public hearings agendaed for our meeting today. The first public hearing is regarding an ordinance that deals with an alley closure at approximately 1000 South between 800 West and Jeremy Street. And I do not have any, looks like we do have a couple of cards. If you are interested in speaking to this public hearing, fill out one of these kind of rich yellow cards and hand it to Cindy Lou, our staff person. The first name, so there's actually two people. Do you both want to speak, or so it's for Richard and Melinda Hale? Do you both want to speak, or just one? Okay, if you want to join us at the microphone and introduce yourself, and then you'll have 2 minutes. Thank you, Ms. Hale.
You bet. So my name is Melinda Hale. I live at 989 South, 900 West, which is on the west side of this alleyway, and I think it's a great idea. I've lived there my whole life. My parents bought the home when I was 3 years old, and I live in the home now. My father still owns it. We've had nothing but problems with that alley. It's always there's been a lot of crime. It's not lit up. It doesn't get maintained. There's no snow removal. It's just really a bad situation. We have wanted to close the alley off at our end and just make it a private driveway for the house to the south of us and for our home as well, so that we kind of can maintain that ourselves and keep the crime away. We'll light it up ourselves. We'll take care of the necessary snow removal, filling of the potholes, all of that. But that would make it so that we could maintain that in a way that is feasible for us and the neighbor. It would still give access to the people who are behind the alley if they wanted it. It would still give access to the utility companies if they needed to be there. It still has access to Jeremy Street. So I'm all for that alley closure. I think it would be great.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Hale. I have two additional cards, one from James Kiefert and the other from Alan Midgley. James, if you could join us at the microphone.
I've gone to a couple of these, and we've kind of discussed some of the crime and other issues that we've seen, so I don't really necessarily want to rehash that, as I think we'll hear more from her and from others. But we're essentially in a situation where the city doesn't maintain it. It's a safe haven, essentially, for criminal activity. On the one hand, they don't maintain it, and on the other hand, we're forbidden from doing anything about it ourselves. We can't just close it. So I would just ask the city, either give it to the landowners to let us take personal responsibility and take care of it, or, as she said, maintain it, lit up, lots of potholes and all that. But I would definitely choose the former. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiefert. Alan Midgley, followed by Megan Kiefert.
I'm Alan Midgley. I'm Melinda's father, and we owned the home at 989 South 9th West for about 30 years now, and it's been nothing but a problem because of the alleyway. We've had numerous burglaries. People have access up and down going over and across into the park, and it's just a bad situation. We've wanted to close that end of the alley, which of course has nothing to do with the closure of the other end, but I'd like for you to consider that also, possibly just closing the whole alley off. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Midgley. Megan Kiefert. And Megan's is the last card. If there's anybody else who would like to speak to this, just fill out a card and hand it to one of our staff.
Hi. So James, my husband, and I kind of spearheaded this because there have been many incidents that have happened to us at our home, and we've seen so many different acts of criminal activity. We had a friend living with us, and their child's scooter was stolen out of our backyard through the alleyway. We've found drug needles, and just, I came out of my door one morning to see someone parked in the alleyway dumping a substance into the overgrown bushes there. And there's just trees that are growing up onto the power lines and everything that is just not being maintained. And anytime the wind blows too hard, there are power outages, and we've had the transformer right there in the alley have to be worked on before, not in the alley, but down the road. But there have just been so many instances, and I'm a stay-at-home mom with almost 2-year-old now, and it is scary to be there by myself sometimes, and I'll sit in my bedroom and I'll hear a car stop right outside, and the neighbor behind us has seen so many things, and it just makes me nervous to be home and nervous to use my backyard when I'm alone, because there's so much transient activity that's happening, and it's just nothing's being done to kind of safeguard the civilians that are living there. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Kiefert. Anybody else? Yeah, if you want to come forward, Mr. Richard Hale, correct?
I'm Richard Hale.
All right.
I live at 989 South 900 West. One point that I want to point out is the fact that the city calls it Meade Avenue. They also call it an alley street. You need to decide what you want to do, because if you're going to call it Meade Avenue, you need to maintain it like any street, any other part of Meade Avenue. If you want to keep it an alley, that's fine, but let's call it an alley. And once it's an alley, then look at it as the alley. The other thing is our house is the only house that isn't fenced in to the alley. So we have actually had people that come by and smash our windows. We have double pane windows. Luckily, the outsides are broken. You can come by and look at it. You know, the vandalism is ridiculous in that area through there, because we get the transient people that wander through from the park that like to come up and hide out up in there. And we've had many a police chase that's chased people up into there where they're hiding. It was mentioned about the growth of the trees. Nobody's maintaining the alley. If we're going to keep it an alley, then we need to put forth some approach the landowners and tell them to cut back the bushes, because the bushes on the east side of the alley are so thick, you might get a motorcycle down or a bicycle, but you're not going to get a truck or even a car down there without scratching the sides of your vehicles. So the idea that the alley is being treated as nothing. Now if you look at the way it comes, Meade comes up like this, but then Jeremy Street has a back alley that comes through that tees into it. And so to cut, like we were saying, to cut it off, we would come up to the back alley that is to the back properties of Jeremy Street. And I know that they want to have access to their property too, but they also have different ways to get in where they can come through. So just, that's all I have to say is.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Anybody else interested in speaking to this? I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Councilmember Fowler.
I move that the council close the public hearing and defer action to a future council meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fowler, second by Councilmember Johnston. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. The second public hearing is regarding an ordinance for budget amendment number 3 for fiscal year 2019-2020. And I don't have any cards for this one. Is there anybody who would like to speak to budget amendment number 3 for fiscal year 2019-2020? Seeing none, look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and refer this item to a future date for action.
Motion by Councilmember Wharton,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Johnston. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Our third public hearing is a grant application, 2020 jurisdictions with halfway house and parole violator centers grant. And I do not have any cards for this public hearing either. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Seeing none, look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and refer item B3 to a future consent agenda for action.
Motion by Councilmember Fowler, second by Councilmember Johnston. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We'll now move to item, or C on our agenda, potential action items. We have one item, which is an ordinance for 504 South, 900 East, zoning map amendment and master plan amendment. And we are going to pull this and have it for a future meeting. So keep that in mind if anybody was following that. We'll now move to D, comments, questions to the mayor from the city council. David Litvak is representing the mayor's office. Thank you for being here, David. Any questions for David? Seeing none. We'll now move to comments to the city council. And again, if you are interested in commenting here, you can speak to us about any item that you want, as long as you keep your time within 2 minutes. I have one card. If you are interested in speaking, just fill a card out and hand it to one of our staff, and they will bring it forward. The one card that I have is for Margaret Holloway. Margaret, if you want to join us. Good to see you, Margaret.
Hi. Been a while.
It has been.
I write a lot. I'm coming here tonight because we had another shooting in our neighborhood, and this is the 5th one in the last 6 months. And all we hear about is trees. All we hear about is how we're going to get trees. Is that to deflect the bullets? Okay, 27 shots were shot into a house 2 days ago. The only reason it didn't kill anybody is because they were all asleep. It was a mistake, and the police said it was a mistake. Okay, two houses down from me, 2 kids got shot. Okay, 2 houses down the other street, a house got shot up twice. Okay, 2 streets over from there, another guy got shot, and they caught him going over the fence. We hear nothing. We hear this East District, or the East Side, wants a new division, new police division. Where the heck are you guys in helping us catch these guys that are shooting us up? Where Detective Curdy is trying his best. Okay, District 3 goes along 9th West. If that was in Rose Park, our statistics would be higher because of those apartments that are over there in your district, okay? So our numbers are down. Oh, well, this is the lowest it's been, in 4 years. Well, you can pick any letter or any number or year you want and make it low. We still had 87 felonies. Well, you have the largest district. Yeah, most of it's industrial. 27 automatic shots went into that house. And the only reason they didn't get killed is because they were still in bed. And it was a mistake. Oh, the police said, oh, it was a mistake. They did a SWAT team over there, and they busted up a drug house a couple of weeks ago. But where? I don't understand. I don't understand. If this was on the east side, by golly, you guys would be hearing it. But I'm coming in here, I write. No one ever hears. James isn't here tonight. I ask him. I don't get response. But this has got to stop. I don't know. We need more cameras to find. We caught him, the guy that was shooting up, they caught him, and he's responsible for 6 of them because the police cameras were there. We have a stupid dog park that cost over $300,000.
Time.
No one's ever going to use. Could have gone towards another police camera.
Thank you, Ms. Hollowell. Or Holloway, any other comments? Hearing none, we will move to item E on our agenda, which is new business. There's a resolution regarding Salt Lake City Justice Court recertification. I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the council suspend the rules and approve a resolution requesting the recertification of the Justice Court of Salt Lake City.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Johnston, second by Councilmember Wharton. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. We'll move to item F, which is unfinished business. We have Resolution Salt Lake City Sales and Excise Tax Revenue Refunding Bonds, Series 2019. This is a refund federally taxable sales and excise tax revenue bonds, Series 2013A, and Sales Tax Revenue Bonds, Series 2007A, and Redevelopment Agency of Salt Lake City Tax Increment Refunding Bonds Issuance, Series 2019.
Mr. Chair, I move that the city council adopt the delegating bond resolution authorizing up to $62,500,000 of sales and excise tax revenue refunding bonds and providing for related matters. Did I have to read this whole thing? And I thought so. I move that the city council adopt the resolution authorizing the execution of the annual contribution agreement and the issuance and sale by the redevelopment agency of Salt Lake City of not more than 46 million aggregate principal amount of tax increment revenue refunding bonds, Series 2019, and related matters.
Motion by Councilmember Fowler, second by Councilmember Mendenhall. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. The second is an ordinance, a proposal for consolidated reporting budget and finance reports. I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council adopt an ordinance relating to information and reports to be provided to the council.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fowler, or Councilmember Wharton, second by Councilmember Fowler. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. On the consent, we need to, we do have a new consent motion. Does that? It's lighter blue, it looks like this. Okay. And does that consent motion sheet cover all of the changes to the consent agenda?
It removes the two items.
Great.
Mr.
Okay, I'll look for a
Chair.
motion.
I move that the council approve the consent agenda except for G3 Street Vacation near 538 East and 14th Avenue and the State of Utah Commission in Criminal and Juvenile Justice jurisdictions with halfway houses and parole violator centers grant from item G4, grant holding account items.
Motion
Second.
by Councilmember Mendenhall, second by Councilmember Johnston. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. And with that, we're adjourned.